Board President Grant.
Here.
Board Member Wren.
Here.
Board Member Walker.
Here.
Board Member Langer.
Here.
Board Member Schmaling.
Here.
Board Member Kramer.
Here.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve today's meeting agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Kim? I'll second.
I have a question about the agenda. I don't know when I can ask. Thank you. Action item, underneath the action items in item C, I see the Neola policies. There's 3 listed. Just to clarify, is that vote going to be separate or all 3 of them are voted as one?
Well, as they are right now, they are all as one agenda item, and somebody can certainly make a motion to split them, but
I'd like to motion to,
you can do that at the
Separate.
time when we.
okay, wait till then. Okay.
Great, thank you. All right, so I have a motion and a second to approve today's meeting agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passed. All right, and the first item on the agenda is Falls Finest.
Yes, we have several members of the community and to recognize today. And before I call the first member up, I'd like to read out the recognition, the page-long reasons for this. I then put my own thoughts in there, then we'll bring Chris up here. It's with great enthusiasm that I nominate Chris Forston for the Friends of Education Award in recognition of his outstanding and highly valuable contribution to our school district and the greater village community. He has demonstrated exceptional volunteer service in providing professional aerial photography to significantly enhance the school district's new website and digital identity. Chris Forston, who is not a district employee, voluntarily provided his time, expertise, and professional equipment to capture a suite of breathtaking aerial photographs of our school grounds and surrounding village. This was a critical, high-level need for our district as we launched a complete redesign of our public website. The impact of this single generous act cannot be overstated. A school district's website is the primary face to the world, first impression for prospective families, future employees, and community partners. The photography Chris provided offered a unique, high-resolution perspective that perfectly showcases the beauty of our campus and its connection to the surrounding village. These stunning visual assets immediately elevated the professionalism, appeal, and overall narrative of our new online platform. Prior to Chris's contribution, achieving this level of professional aerial imagery would have required significant expenditure from the district budget. By donating his expertise, equipment, and countless hours of flying and post-production work, Chris provided a service equivalent to thousands of dollars, allowing those funds to be redirected to direct student programming. Chris embodies the spirit of a true friend of education. He saw a gap in our digital presentation, recognized the potential for improvement, and utilizes his skills to deliver an invaluable gift that will benefit the district for years to come. For his professionalism, generosity, and tangible, lasting visual improvement he provided, Chris Forston is exceptionally deserving of the Friends of Education Award. Chris? Quite a little presentation there. Right? Why don't you hold that for a second while I just see a few things, and then you can have a few comments. Chris is actually, I've known Chris since I come to the district, so 3 years now. And behind the scenes, Chris is very much behind the scenes, and he's very happy working in a lot of different environments. You'll see him in the summer, working in the village. He's often running out of here in June and July with all the different things downtown with the village. So it's not just the school district. He's involved so much in so many different parts of the community. The Public Library Board, which I sit on, I'm happy that he's now a part of making sure that those are fully out there, so thank you for doing that as well. But there's a lot of things like that, and it's a wonderful relationship, and I would tell the board that this is new information, but Chris and his group, as part of his regular day job, is he's going to be taking over these productions. So we're starting in January. So we thank you for this. Surprise, surprise. So thank you. Why don't you go ahead?
Okay, great.
All right, just a quick few words here. Thank you so much for this incredible honor. I'm truly humbled to receive the Friend of Education Award from the School District of Menominee Falls. Supporting our students, educators, and schools has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my time here in Menominee Falls. The district is filled with dedicated teachers, caring staff, strong leadership, and outstanding young people. And it's been a privilege to play even a small part in that role, in that success. So, thank you. I want to thank the School District of Menominee Falls for this recognition and for the meaningful work that you do on a daily basis. I would also like to thank the Falls Cable Access staff. Without you, our work and this award is not possible. A few names: Adam Mazuski, Owen Schmidt, which those two are right over there, Taylor Melton, Marlon Hestetune, the voice of all our productions, Jerry Mislang, and Robert Fryer. All these individuals have contributed to the school's success of this year, and I share this honor with you guys tonight. So I'm grateful for this award, and I'm proud to stand alongside all of you in support of education. Thank you. Richard's family is here too. So he has 3 children and his wife, so they're here as well. You guys are awesome. Yep, you guys are good. Yep.
I'm coming that way.
And for the next President's Day, is a Distinguished Service Award is being presented to Mr. Scott Walter. I'm going to have him come up here early, as he works in the district. Why don't you come on up here, Scott? So Scott was nominated, and I'll read this out in the same way. You come right over here. So Scott's a principal in the district. So he was the principal of Riverside Elementary. And this goes: every day, Mr. Walter leads by example by being outside for school drop-off and pickup. He ensures that each child gets into school safely by monitoring traffic and playing an active role in monitoring and directing buses, personal vehicles, and walking traffic. He makes it a point to warmly greet everyone he sees, which sets a positive tone for the day. He's an active member of the community and is sure to have a positive interaction with students outside the school. For our family, this looks like asking how the summer is going when he sees him at a mini golf park, or stopping to buy lemonade when my kids are having a lemonade stand. This is written by a parent. These interactions always make my kids' day. Anytime I have had a question or concern, Mr. Walter has responded to my emails, calls immediately. Even if that means he's answering emails after school hours. His dedication makes me feel safe, sending my kids to school in a world that seems to be getting less safe by the day. By taking the time to get to know every student, he shows his commitment to maintaining a safe and positive learning environment. I appreciate the time and effort he puts into being such an influential member of our school district and our community. And I will say, on a personal note, Scott's gone through a lot this year, just like a lot of members in our community, but he's done so with class, and it's really been great to get to know him. And I'll keep this in here because it's kind of multi-part. So congratulations. You guys say anything? You got it. You got it?
Thank you. Thank you for the word, for the honor. Thank you for the Drapes family, and they have really cheap lemonade. Summer, if you're swinging by, I'm nominating in the summer, but thank you for the great family, I love it too. But I love what I do. We have great kids in Mount Falls. Been active at Riverside obviously for a while in the community. I appreciate the board and Mr. Munoz' support, but it all centers on those daily interactions. I love what I do. I love the people that I work with. We have a simple mission statement at Riverside, learning for all, whatever it takes, and those 6 words are simple, and we revisit them. We've had it for a long time, and I think what means the most to me is we revisit it every year, and the staff nope, we need to keep it. We talked about it in our leadership team, but it truly embodies what we do. What I appreciate about the people and the kids that I work with is learning for all truly means all, and that means we are learning as adults as well, and that continuous improvement model, whatever it takes. The people that I work with, no matter what happens to professionally during the day or outside of school, just truly take care, we'll do whatever it takes for kids, or whatever it takes for each other. And I've seen that over the years with things on both ends of the spectrum. I love our families, I love our kids, and love the people that I work with that just always stick together. So thank you for this honor, and just love working here in Falls. Thank you.
Okay, and then we have a third group, a third fall finest, and there's a group of students, and they are not here yet, so we are going to, when they do arrive, we'll interrupt the rest of our meeting and honor them at that time.
They are coming, sorry about that, they are coming.
Okay, so then moving on to the agenda, we are at the report section. So first I would ask if any Board of Education members have anything they'd like to report.
I do. First, I want to say congratulations to Chris. Bye. But thank you so much for all that you're doing. And then also to Scott Walter. I feel really special because my children go to Riverside. And so I've been able to meet him personally, and I do appreciate your dedication, your passion, and everything that you're doing at Riverside. So thank you. I also just wanted to say I had an awesome experience way back in November, which sounds like eons ago for whatever reason. But the Riverside 5th graders went to Biztown, and I really recommend, if you guys haven't been there, it's a really cool experience where students get real-world, hands-on experience running a town. I was really impressed, and it was a really fun thing to volunteer at. But I want to acknowledge and share my gratitude to the 5th grade teachers who worked behind the scenes to get them all ready. I was really impressed that, every single student had their own job, and so someone had to assign them and understand what they were interested in, and understand, what would their strengths be, because I'm telling you, the CEOs of these companies were very busy. And the kid who was the CEO of the company I was did a great job of staying calm, cool, and collected, so I was like, that was a good idea to have him be CEO. But also just, I could see how much the students were prepared, whether it was writing checkbooks ahead of time, or just, it can feel overwhelming, but they were excited and let's get going. So I just really acknowledge and wanted to recognize those 5th grade teachers for managing all of that on top of their usual day-to-day responsibilities, and I could see how confident and the students felt during that day. So thank you for that partnership for Biztown and Junior Achievement and all the behind-the-scenes work. So again, I really recommend going to Biztown if you can. So thank you. Any other board members have anything they'd like to say? Then Mr. Munoz, Superintendent's report.
Okay, I have several items, and first of all, we'll start off with professional development on the first, right after Thanksgiving, we have professional development. I think it's when there's something like that goes on, oftentimes, I think it's a little bit of a mystery to the larger community, but it was such good work. I happened to attend the start of that professional development, first hour and a bit, and it was really well done by all the teachers that were presenting, by all the professional development. I've linked the piece in there for the board, but long and short of it, there's a great deal of work going on those days, and that's an example of it. It's minute to minute. It's a great deal of work, but also work that's directly linked to student learning and student achievement. So I just wanted to list that. Next thing that I put in there is so not great news from the state of Wisconsin, but I wanted to put that article in there. There's a link to an article that says the state of Wisconsin is not honoring, it's not my words, it's their words, is not honoring the promised increase in special education reimbursement as explained in this article, because they're not. So, and that's unfortunate that the state passed the budget at 45%, and it appears that we're going to come in at 38%. So that'll be something the board will be wrestling with in the future, not tonight. But the decrease in projected funding coupled with an unexpected $750,000 in reduction in state funding is on top of that. So Mrs. Windler will have more details on that in coming meetings. But that is since the October meeting. So that information wasn't good information, but every district in the state received the same information. So we're dealing with that. So every district is going the same way. CD and Rec project updates, so some links and pictures in there. Thank you to Jason, who I know is sitting in back. The project's really going well. They're opening up spots. There's details about that. Really, we're jumping into finishing work at this point. The wood floor is going to be going in soon. The hoops are in. A lot of different aspects of that project are already complete. So we fully expect to be operational by the end of January as planned, on budget and on plan. So Menominee High School Wall of Recognition honorees, that was Friday evening. Thank you to President Grant for accompanying myself along with Mr. Halverson and other members of the district staff to honor Dr. Conradi from the class of 1970, Dr. Hoyen from the class of 1984, and Terry Tuttle from the class of 1980. So they were recognized as alumni that have gone on to do amazing things in their lives. So we had a little dinner for them, sort of standard recognition. Mr. Bauer was there as well, along with Mr. Walter was there as well, because he is on that committee. So a lot of things that he does as well, including that. We honored them at the basketball game then, and there was a presentation in front of that community as well. I had a good discussion with both of the physicians for whatever reason. I was sitting closer to them, but they both have some wonderful stories about one of the doctors is a dentist, but a high-level dentist who works on cleft palates. And the reason that was interesting to me is my big brother had a cleft palate. So that sort of surgery has come a long ways since the late 70s and today. And Dr. Conradi has done a lot of work in that regard. Dr. Hoyen comes out of Cleveland. She's from here, graduated from the Falls, but she is still practicing in Cleveland and has had wonderful successes in that regard. And Terry Tuttle is a businesswoman who's well established in her career in Wisconsin. So I was excited to be there and was excited to honor them with the rest of the community. Big thing, I know the ladies, I won't steal too much of the thunder. I know they're going to bring out the blood drive as well, but the high school students and staff did a great job with the blood drive. I know there's a picture flowing around. I did get a lot of messages and emails. Are you okay? I don't know if I looked distressed in that message that went out on Facebook. I was fine. Giving blood, I wasn't the only one that gave blood, the ladies did as well. So there was so many donors, it was outstanding, 102 pints, 306 lives saved. Just some outstanding work by the Healthcare Academy, with the staff that run that. I think this was American Red Cross, because I know they work with different organizations, but just a wonderful thing that happens right there at school. So anybody in the community or any board member likes to give blood, I know they got another one coming up in the future. So it's always good to do that for others. That's all that I have.
And student board members, I'm sure you have some reports for us as well.
So last week, Thursday, the German students and French collaborated with Holt and went down to Chicago to explore the Christmas market. There's some really cute photos from there. And Mr. Lewis mentioned the Healthcare Academy hosted our annual winter blood drive. Will Stiller and I are Healthcare Academy members, and I think I speak for the both of us when our healthcare academy seniors and Ms. Carson, our advisor. They worked so hard to put everything together, and the Red Cross was an amazing partner this year. And with the holidays coming up, a lot of our clubs are looking for ways to give back to the community. HOSTA is working with Fox 6 News and the Coats for Kids Drive. CBS, which stands for the College of Medical Studies, did a toy drive to give back to those in need. And Key Club did a big sale of it last week to fund further projects for the community. So we're doing some good for students.
All right, so the boys varsity basketball team started off their season at Menominee Falls High School Saturday versus Milwaukee Riverside. The boys worked really well and they won 93 to 58. And the boys swim team started off their season at the GMC kickoff. JV and varsity both competed on Friday at Menominee Falls High School, and they both placed second place. And varsity in division had multiple first place finishes. And the Brookfield Stars co-op with our school started their season strong, and it beat Verona 4-2. And both wrestling teams, boys and girls, both started off their seasons as well. For girls basketball, varsity started off their season strong with a 47-31 win versus Waukesha North and South at Menominee Falls High School. The hockey co-op, the Brookfield Glaciers, started their season on December 1st with Stratton, and they won 6-1 with a goal from Menominee Falls junior Lindsay Mead. The dance team went to Ashwaubenon this weekend, and they placed 6th in D1 kick, 3rd in D1 jazz, and 2nd in D2 pom, and also won Best Costume Award for their new costumes. So my cheer team, we went to UCA Regionals on Saturday, and this is our bid for nationals, so we have to qualify, and we worked hard, and we placed first in both your teams and secured both of our bids. So we'll be going to Orlando in January.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
That's a victory in itself, right?
All right, so that brings us to the end of the reports. I see that we do have some of the students here, but I'm not sure, do we have everybody or?
We're waiting for two more.
Okay. The first item for discussion is the school year calendar. I think that will just take a few minutes, so it's not gonna be like a half hour or anything, so, we'll see where we're at after this one, and, if everybody's here, we'll do the students, otherwise we'll do another agenda item. So it looks like Leah's here for the school year calendar for 26, 27.
But I can always talk for a half hour, no problem. So the calendar is attached in the item. Every year we make one for the next year. This is the 26-27 school calendar. It looks mostly the same as every other year. This year I decided to work with teacher group and the principals to talk about conferences. As of right now, conferences are still being hotly debated and scheduled amongst the school teams. So as of right now, there will be some blue shading across some dates in October and in March. And those are the evenings on which conferences could occur in the future. They will be during those times. As soon as I get those, we'll send out an updated calendar to families, both via the district and the schools. But I know that families are really interested in knowing all those yellow days on there and those pink days when the kids won't be in school. So we don't want to hold any of that up while we're talking about conference days. So this is it. It has all the required minutes, all the required holidays, and all the stuff. It started on September 1st, again, by some type of majority vote. June 9th is the end date.
Are there any questions or comments from board members?
I just want to say it's great to see a calendar that was created with multiple stakeholders at the table and that you heard from educators directly. Just thank you. And I look forward to hearing how the collaboration with the calendar committee goes as well. So thank you.
Yes, I made promises for 27, 28 calendars. So we'll see what happens.
Graduation, June 4th, is that locked down Friday the 4th?
Oh, that's a David and Dan, without a question.
Yes.
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 Yes, stays out of the graduation money.
Yes, graduation, same here.
All right, thank you. Okay, Steve, we have a few more, okay, we're gonna jump right into the back to the finance for the presentation to some high school students, from the high school computer science.
Good evening. Thank you for having us today. We really appreciate being here. Today we have our first place team for our computer science, computer programming at the MSOE. So we have Scott, Alex, Aiden, and Finn. Very excited. They went out there and they took first place. And I know Ms. Larson is going to talk a bit about how many teams were actually there. But this is just a really nice example of what we like to say is our excellence at Menominee Falls High School. We have great academics, we have great sports teams, we have great clubs, and this is another example of just one of our top-rated groups going on and competing and winning a competition. And I do want to shout out, and Ms. Larson is their advisor here today, but I want to shout her out too because she's also part of our math club too, which took second place at the Arrowhead competition a couple of weeks back too. She's also our department chair, involved in just about so many things. That's one thing that makes Menominee Falls High School just a special place, is that our teachers that are there do so many things above and beyond just teaching their classes, which adds such a wonderful aspect to the student experience here. But I want to bring up Brenda to talk about this experience.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. So yes, I am very excited to nominate these boys and have them here tonight to be recognized for this great accomplishment. We've been going to MSOE, I feel like for at least over 20 years that I've been taking teams down there, and this is the very first time we've ever taken first place. So it is really a huge accomplishment. There are teams from all area school districts, even including some from Illinois that do come up to the competition. So it's quite an honor. This year there was 43 different teams that competed. Like you can see, there's 4 people on a team, and they have to complete 9 programs in about 2.5 hours. It's not easy. There are 3 levels: easy, medium, and hard, and even the easy are very challenging. So kudos to these guys. They did a fantastic job, and they scored the most points out of everybody in the competition. So it really is a really great accomplishment.
Yeah, so basically it was a Java competition where we learned a lot of Java in Miss Larson's class. I mean, me and Scott now are from the same class back last year, he was currently taking it. Like Miss Larson said, most of the problems are broken up easy, medium, hard, and we all broke up each problem. It was being able to work together, and Scott now has mostly worked together on each problem. And yeah, together we outscored each group by about, what was it, like 20, 30 points ahead of them, and that's about 2 or 3 problems, so we really ran off with it. But yeah, it was just, Java was a lot of fun to go out there and compete. It's even more fun to work. So.
I'd just like to make some comments real quick before they sit down.
Yeah, I think there's a few comments, guys, from the board.
First of all, congratulations. This is an awesome accomplishment. 9 programs in 2.5 hours. So most people know I'm a director of IT and I oversee application developers. And 9 programs in 2.5 hours, they got some work to do. That's impressive. 43 teams, first win. I did attend MSOE, so I know how beautiful the campus is and I know the crowd attracts. So congratulations, keep up the great work, and thanks for representing Menominee Falls.
What year are they? Like, are they seniors, juniors, sophomores? Oh, seniors, wow. I can't wait to see what else you do. Have you all decided what you're gonna do after high school? And if you have and would like to share it with us, we're very curious, we wanna know.
Come on up, John.
I want to go into cybersecurity. I want to become ideally I want to be a red team or an offensive security. It would be a lot of fun over like breaking down problems and breaking things, figuring out how to fix them.
I'm undecided, but like in something with computer science field.
I'd like to go into something like computer engineering and stay within that coding circle.
I'm also going to go into cybersecurity, preferably through the military.
It's probably a good reason why that article came out in the Journal Sentinel about Menominee Falls High School being the 10th rated high school in Waukesha County for growth. It's probably a good reason why these gentlemen and a lot of others. So kudos to them and kudos to Mr. Bauer for all of that outstanding work and all of the teachers, of course. Thank you.
Okay. No, I think I forgot to let you guys know you're certainly dismissed, but I'm glad that you were, you can stay, but I'm glad you were here to see your fellow high school classmates win their award as well. Thank you. Okay, so again, moving back into our agenda, we are doing discussion items. We finished up with the school calendars, and now we will move on to the community ed and rec winter activity guide.
Yep, I think you each have a winter activity guide. You have a hard copy. But online, there's also the link. So great job by Jason and his team. Community Ed and Rec is a department of the school district of Menominee Falls. And there are so many things. We're almost completed building a community center. So if you walk through just this booklet alone, there are so many things from swim lessons to yoga to walking clubs, preschool. There's bus trips and mystery bus trips, any number of different things for all members of the community. Strength training, Zumba. I've actually done Zumba and I know what it is, but it's been a few years. I'll laugh. There's video of it if you look hard enough. Indoor cycling, line dancing. I've never done that, but I know what it is. So many different things, knitting clubs, investment, how to stop investment scams. So really looking through this entire booklet, which is also linked online. The booklet is in full online as well. You can see so many opportunities through Community Ed and Rec, which is a division of the school district, with outreach to the entire community. Meals on Wheels, any number of different organizations. So kudos to Jason and his team for that continued every day, almost every day outreach into the community. So just wanted to have that out there. If you have any questions, happy to answer it. But I think everybody's pretty well understanding of Community Ed and Rec. But we're enhancing that. With the community center, we're excited that indoor walking track, right, is going to be operational here within 2 months. And for those that they don't have their workout room back yet, but it will be back in 2 months. So there's some adjustments with the, I know that's a thing every time I go over there, so Jason's probably shaking his head, but we've had some adjustments just in the transition, but we'll be ready with that in a short time.
All right, thank you. Item C, the
updated organizational chart.
Yeah, this had come up in a previous agenda item. We had talked about the organizational chart needing to be updated, so we worked through and updated the organizational chart. This isn't up for action because it will get put into the existing policies. We had already actually put it in our first reading a few months back. It's already linked into the thousands. So when we come back for a second reading, this document will get linked in. So this is just a chart that establishes, it's a standard organizational chart that most districts have. So we have made some adjustments from the last one, but this will get inserted before the board does final approval of all policies into the thousands. So I'm going to put that up there for everybody.
All right, comments or questions? All right, now a very exciting item, the district state report card.
Yeah, I've got a couple of documents in executive content for the state report card, and we'll stick on the slide, it's easier to see. But really slides 3 through 8 kind of go through the write-up, and I will speak over it from this perspective. The positive in the state report card hits at every level for growth. Growth is something that can be measured year to year and over time. And what we can see in multiple measures is that growth in the school district of Menominee Falls we had a great year that way with growth. Now, it's a baseline. We need to establish a baseline and saying, okay, we're listed like it says on the slide, on the first slide there for the district. Mine are a little bit smaller. The 58th from about 100 out of 361 districts. A year ago, our state ranking was right about 100. We're now 58 out of 361 districts when it comes to that measure, performance. When you look at growth and you look at individual schools, the high school specifically, a couple of slides in, if you jump to the high school, and this is meant to be an overview. Ms. Riebel is going to have details in the curriculum and learning committee. The high school specifically, their overall growth rates were off the charts. 6 out of 361 schools, or 9 out of 361 schools. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. So it's 9 out of 361 schools, which is absolutely outstanding for growth. And growth is one of those main aspects that any educator is looking for to measure. So we're excited about that. We're excited about that work, and we're also excited about that article that came out, which is a nice article, and I think it was the Journal Sentinel. It was an article that rated, the high school as the 10th rated high school in Waukesha County. So there's a lot of work behind that. It took multiple years to get to this point. A lot of work behind the scenes with discipline literacy, with new curriculum. Thank you to the teachers, the students, and obviously the staff and parents for all of their work, the administrators, getting to that point. The good news extended to Riverside, to the elementary schools as well. So double-digit growth in the elementary schools as well. Different at one building than the other, right? And you can see that on the split matrix there. Because we have partner schools in the school district of Menominee Falls. So that's why there's a split there. One is one school, is one the other, but when you put everything together, that's double-digit growth in our elementary schools as well. And that's even a bigger achievement by our staff when implementing new curriculum. Implementing new curriculum over the last year and a bit, which admittedly is a heavy lift, but an important lift. We appreciate that. But the work is paying off. But like I said, this is a good baseline for the district, a very positive report card, and we do have challenges. We do have what you call gaps in learning and things that we want to improve on, of course. So in an era of continuous improvement, Ms. Riebel will be bringing a more detailed report other side of this, of these pieces. But one of the big things to walk away from is growth. That growth in all of our buildings and across the district was outstanding as reported on this district report card. The one thing that we didn't know, we received this information very early, a couple months ago. But the state doesn't allow us to make that public or to see other districts until relatively recently, middle of November. So this is very new information for us to be able to look around at our peers and see how we did. And we did very well. We're excited about that. We have great staff, we have great students, and we have great families. And that's what this represents. Is this as good as we can do? Of course not. We're a district that believes in continuous improvement. We believe this is an outstanding baseline for us going forward. And it's good information. It's a good point. It's a good data point for us. We're excited about it, and I'm also looking forward to Ms. Riegel's more detailed breakout during the curriculum meeting in the near future.
I don't know if it's worth, community members are here, but explaining how the DPI scores did change. So, and I understand that you've mentioned growth and that they're saying comparing last year to this year, it can be compared, but like the overall score can't. Is it worth explaining that, or is that something Amy's going to explain during a curriculum committee meeting?
Most certainly, Ms. Riegel will explain that in more detail in her curriculum meeting. There was a change in scoring, but I will note that double-digit increases, there are districts that actually stayed even or went down.
I'd love to see
Yeah,
like
it's
that
a substantial-
comparison.
That even if you take that into account, we had an order of magnitude, and I'm just using mathematical terminology, but it was an order of magnitude increase at all three different levels for growth. And that is something that can be measured year to year, according to the DPI. So I was excited about that.
Yeah.
And the high school itself actually scoring so high with growth. Not surprised. Great team up there. A lot of great work. Actually throughout the district. I mean, this is representative of very good work by multiple educators throughout the district, families and students. So it is a good point about the change, but that had nothing to do with us, and the change was the same for all districts in the state.
Yeah, I just knew for the overall score, we
Yeah.
couldn't compare last year to this year, and it made me wonder, do you know if there's anywhere, or is that something like districts have to compile themselves, but like, looking at, because I could guess that like, okay, so if the overall scoring changed for every district, you could look at like the top 10, let's say Waukesha County districts, from that last year to this year, to see like, are we all trending similarly? Is Menominee Falls trending higher or lower? Like, comparing that data. Is that anywhere accessible, or is that something districts have to pull?
Yeah, I mean, that's more of a curriculum committee question, but it's,
Okay.
we can definitely delve into that. What I can tell you is, this was the first year that the state report card was normed on growth instead of achievement, which wasn't my decision, but it is the first year that the state report card was normed on growth instead of achievement. And one note that I heard from one webinar was that growth is a more stable distribution to look at. So it's good information. Look forward to future information.
Go for it.
Thank you. Couple things that I just wanted to point out. So, we are one of the top 10 high schools in Waukesha County, not one of the top 10 districts. So there are districts that have multiple high schools, and their high schools are both in there. So when you look at like Brookfield, both of their schools are in the top 10.
That's true.
And Kettle Moraine has a number of high schools, and 2 of them are in there. So
New Berlin.
and New Berlin
Both
has
their high schools.
both of their high schools. So,
you know, when we're in the top 10 high schools, we're also more like in the top 5 or 6 districts in Waukesha County. So, I mean, I just want to point that out, that it puts us much higher, you know, up on that, as well as the fact that when I first came on the board, I was told that we should not be comparing ourselves to Brookfield. We should not be comparing ourselves to Heartland, Arrowhead. That Menominee Falls could never compete with those districts. And here we are, standing strong in the top 10 high schools, top 6 districts in Waukesha County, and I'm very, very proud of that.
And I think just to piggyback on that comment, the Waukesha County alone has some of the highest performing districts and schools in the entire state of Wisconsin. So this report card is indicative, and this is an empirical fact, that we're a high performing schools and high performing district in an extremely high performing county. So it's exciting news, I agree.
Is there anything too, I know you can compare graduation rate and attendance rate?
Yes, that's actually part of the report card. Our graduation rate is 99% for multiple years. But I want to note that being an old high school principal myself, that's nearly perfect graduation rate to the high school's credit. And I'll tell you why. That in special education, some special education students, they have it written into their IEP that they go to school until they're 21 or 20. You know, that's a standard thing. High school educators are very aware of this. We have 18 to 21-year-old transition programs. It's a nuance, and the state knows this, and I put a lot of work into this when I was a high school principal. That actually counts against us, statistically, because they're not graduating technically with their cohort. So 99.1%, which I think is what we're sitting at, if you count in students that we know are on a pathway to graduation with our approval, either through their, can't get much higher than that. Attendance rate is something we're targeting this year. That's in our school goals.
Yeah.
So when we work through that, I believe we're coming to committee with that soon. Mr. Halverson's over there shaking his head because he's in charge of attendance. But I know the last time we looked at our average daily attendance, we were over 96 to 97%, and our target was 90. So, because it was below 90 in previous years. So, we have a new data module, we can look at that daily. So the principals, teachers, and social workers, Mr. Halverson, and a lot of other educators, parents, and students really doing a good job with attendance. So, average daily attendance between 96, I remember 96.2%, roughly. Yeah, anytime we come into deer hunting, it goes down a little bit. We're expecting a little dip into the holidays as well, which is to be expected. But the big thing about attendance, and I appreciate you bringing up that question, is it's hard for our teachers to be able to be held responsible for teaching students when they're not there. So, I mean, it's intuitive, but that's something that we're constantly working on. We've put several changes in place, including online attendance verification at the elementary schools. So we've made some definite gains in that area.
Thank you. I'm very excited for the district, for the administration, for the teachers, for the students, for everybody here in Menominee Falls. You know, be very, very proud of the achievements here that you highlighted. Thank you.
Yep, thank you to the school board too for your support.
And one last thing, I do have something to say. Yeah, the numerical increase of this is encouraging, and I'm glad that you said it's a really great baseline, so I can't wait to see what happens moving forward. But as an educator with 12 years of recent experience in the classroom, I do need to emphasize that we remember that these reports are just a narrow snapshot of a few key indicators, and student success is multifaceted. These tests do not capture the diverse strengths, for example, artistic, musical, kinesthetic, emotional, vocational skills, among many others, needed for healthy development in a thriving society. And so I just really felt a need to say that, being in a classroom with lots of different students, that this one snapshot of looking at how, our These test scores aren't the end-all be-all, not that I'm saying anybody is saying that, but in my heart as an educator, I needed to point that out. And just know that inherently, so much of what we're doing supports academic growth and addresses the diverse needs that we just can't capture on these tests. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're at the portion of our meeting for the invitation of statements and comments from the audience. We did have one speaker on form, and that is Ms. Kathy McBride. If you want to come on up, and you have 3 minutes.
The October 29th candidate forum for the appointment of the new school board member filled the vacancy and presented an effective platform for introducing our community to 7 candidates. Would our district decision makers consider this as a prototype for our upcoming April 2026 school board election? Traditional school board candidate forums happened for 7 years, organized by the PTO-PTA, attended by all the candidates, and providing accessibility, information, and transparency. But in 2022, in the second night of the PTO forum, 3 of the candidates refused to attend due to objections regarding the tone of the questions. In 2023, PTO-PTA stepped down from their 7-year tradition. A new group of volunteer constituents stepped up to plan the forum event. They set dates, and in the beginning, they asked the candidates to submit areas of question. They asked all the candidates. The 2 of the 4 candidates refused to participate at all and even scheduled their own meet and greet on the same night of the proposed forum. When they posted on Facebook, our concern is the lack of transparency in the formulation of this candidate forum. To be fair, it was shared with me that there may have been some communication gaps which prompted this unfortunate conclusion, but the 2023 forum never happened. 2024, there was no forum, just a series of meet and greets and informal gatherings with random conversations. Never did all 4 candidates ever attend together. In 2025, 4 years without any and all candidate forum at all, I and 2 other engaged citizens worked to recruit other volunteers, find meeting space and sponsorship to host a forum event. Menominee Falls had 6 total candidates running for 3 school board seats. The 2025 forum happened, but again, only 3 participated. The missing 3 provided their rationale in the Facebook post. Who are these forum organizers? What's their motivation? Do they really represent the broader community? For our upcoming 2026 election, let's begin by working together to build an effective platform, just as you all did on the 29th. Let's call on the broader community right from the get-go, willing students, parents, engaged citizens, teachers, administrators. A collaboration of concerned citizens where diverse questions could be formulated with diverse input to address the diverse issues that you all face. I know there are policies which clearly define just how districts can become involved in the board election and avoid endorsement confusion. However, offering information about board candidates working together with willing constituents to develop questions that reflect the needs of our total community will lead to information, transparency, and accessibility, not endorsement. Just better voters for our students, our staff, and our community. Thank you.
Just note for the board that Kathy did give a handout that I'll get to each board member. So she has a label for all of them. We'll make sure to get that to you before we're done today.
Okay, thank you. All right, and that brings us to our action items. The first item is the Neola Policy 6000. So I'd like to bring that to the floor. I'll need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of Neola 6000 policies as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by board member Langer,
Second.
seconded by board member Woppert. Comments or discussion, please?
I have a question on a couple policies. 6152, I think it's on fine, I think let's talk about the meeting. I guess, I think we struck out the, you can't appeal, families cannot
Yeah, I mean, it more has to do with.
So just with, let me just
Yes,
say
sir.
for the people that are watching here or online, that the policy is, you said 6152, which is student fees, fines, and charges.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, usually it's more of a procedural issue, meaning I have the authority to waive fees. So that was the intent and the spirit of the action, that, you know, if it's necessary to waive fees, that's something that I can do without court action and have done without court action.
And then my next question was on 6235. Can you just clarify, and this is maybe just education for me?
So this one, yeah,
6235.
fund balance.
Fund balance.
Fund balance. What is the, I guess, implications, or what, in a legal sense, what does it mean when you strike out, the board discourages the maintenance of unassigned fund balances? Does that just mean put everything into Fund 10 unless otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, an unassigned fund balance essentially means that we're into fund accounting. So right now, I'll give an example, that we have a Fund 46, but we're not able to take money out of the Fund 46 yet. So we still do what's called carryover. Most districts don't do that. They use Fund 46 as a vehicle. So unassigned fund balance that's an example of that. But there's other examples, like the health insurance, 7 or 8 million. That's currently in a liability account. So it's examples like that.
Okay, so we're saying we try to avoid having those type of funds?
Yes. And the other thing, actually, since you brought up 6235, the main change from the committee was the fund balance is desired to be 25%, not shall be.
Yes.
Right? So that was the main change on 6235, was fund balance is desired to be 25%, not shall be. Because sometimes there's an ebb and flow.
Sorry, last question was 6320, purchasing. My question was there's a statute that talks about competitive bids, and then I believe the policy committee struck if it's over X dollars, must go to a competitive bid. But then later on, obviously, I believe it talks about either this policy or a future policy in this packet that talks about at certain thresholds we'll get bids. So I guess I was just wondering the rationale for not saying over 250,000 or 500,000, you must get a bid versus.
Yep. And this is the last paragraph of the policy mentioned is for any contract or subcontract with a value in excess of $25,000, the district shall verify that the contractor or subcontractor and any principal is not listed on the General Services Administration's list of debarred or suspended contractors. So that gets into the controls of that. Is that your question, or?
Sorry, it was earlier on, right in that competitive bid section at the beginning of that.
Got it? Got it.
There was a part that was struck that was basically saying like, if greater than blank, and we all want to do fill the blank, you must get a bid.
Right.
I was just curious as to.
Oh, I see that. So it's sentence 1, competitive bids, purchase of,
Yes.
and contract work projects will be subject to a competitive bid process as and when required by law. So it's just establishing that we're going to follow the law for competitive bids.
Okay. Versus setting our own threshold.
Yes. And so establishing our own threshold, we're going to follow the law for competitive bids. Yeah. I don't have that. And I don't believe Caitlin's here today. Oh, she is here. She can come up. Sorry.
Sorry, Kate.
I wish I had my straight through, so I'm in Hebrew.
Yep, me too.
Oh, sorry,
So it generally depends, if you're spending federal dollars is when a whole lot more laws are involved. So if we're just spending our own Fund 10 dollars, state and local dollars, there's no threshold. It's our district discretion. So it's when we're doing a large project, for example, with local dollars. And we generally use those dollars for staffing or contracted services. So generally this would apply, like if we had ESSER dollars, those are federal dollars that we would have competitive bids for. So I would have to look into the actual threshold in law, but generally it rarely would apply to us because the dollars that we're using are state and local dollars
Okay.
for significant projects.
Okay. Again, the reason I bring it up is just more for, right, so you can, so you're saying there's laws in place that would prevent someone from like doing some large project and then come back and say, well, you never got a bid and you use these contractors, right, whatever. So essentially there's laws in place that if we do anything to that scale that we're gonna have to get a bid anyway. Is that?
Yeah, and we get competitive bids when we do, like, it's not that we don't get them.
No, I
When
think we get that. I'm just thinking that, right,
Yeah.
someday in the future, like someone does something and says, we're gonna spend $500,000 doing whatever. You know, and then someone comes back and says, well, why didn't you maybe have a small amount, or you're gonna spend a significant amount of money. And so that's why I was just curious, striking out, not having a threshold there from the Neola.
we're able to make our own, like, we can still follow procedures without having them in policy. So policy, obviously, we're going to want to put something in policy that we then don't do, like that's worse than not having something at all. So I would say we generally, more often than not, do get bids. So like anytime we're doing construction projects, we're getting bids, like we're coming back in January for review of the bids for that project and such. So we didn't indicate a threshold, but that doesn't mean we can't still get our bids. And we work with Neola as we go through these strikers and everything, and he'll recommend, like, if all districts do something, Dr. Thompson will say that.
Yeah.
And I'm not recalling a conversation like that on this one.
Yeah, so when we're doing strike-throughs like that, he'll get comparable districts in Waukesha or surrounding counties and say, because there's so many Neola districts, we'll look at theirs and say, they're striking this, they're striking that.
Those are my questions. Thank you for entertaining.
Any other comments on the 6,000? Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. All right, moving on to Neola Policy 7000. I would need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the Neola 7000 policies as presented.
I'll motion.
Okay, motion by Board Member Wren, second by Board Member Langer. Comments or discussion on the 7,000?
I just have one. 7440. I don't have the open yet.
Facility security?
Yes. That's in there. There was a part struck that just said, I believe we just struck the, in the working draft, it was struck that the administrator would inform the board of any significant safety events. And I just thought that was an odd, obviously I would hope that the administrator, you know, you or whomever would do that. I just didn't know why that particular small bit was struck as far as like.
Yeah, I can answer that. Because of the board's role as governors, sometimes you're going to sit, depending on the situation. Like situation, I make the board aware in regular updates about items. But there's some things that the detailed information about HR situations or whatever, you can't know that because you would sit in judges of that. And some of those things are security aspects. That's the reason. Is that to preserve your role as objective decision makers if that becomes necessary. But if that's not an issue, I can make people aware in closed session, which we have, with other similar safety situations.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It also passes unanimously. Okay, moving on policies 2522, 3340, and 8340. I'm going to need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of Neola policies 2522, 3340, and 8340 as presented. Okay, motion by Langer, second by board member Wren. Any comments or discussion?
I motion to separate them into 3 individual votes.
Okay, I have a motion to separate into 3 individual votes. Okay, motion and a second. We're going to vote on whether, so we're going to take a vote unless there's any comments on separating them.
Well, there's 3 very different categories. One's in the 2000s, one's in the 3000s, one's in the 8000s. And so I think that they deserve a separate vote on each of them.
I guess I would ask, is there any concern with any of these 3?
I have questions.
Like on all 3, or is there one that you really?
I mean, I think we can hash those questions out in discussion here, possibly.
Why are they put together?
Yes, these were put together because they're not in the sequence. They're ones that were brought back to the policy committee for some additional work at different times. We've done this. These are our last bank of policies before we move to procedures, which Neola calls administrative guidelines. So they were worked on and pulled back to the policy committee, so then brought here next instead of, we've done it multiple times.
Okay. Well, I personally don't have a problem with voting on them separately. I also don't have a problem voting on them all as one. And if somebody, maybe you certainly make your comments about each and every one, and in the end, you can vote how you like on all 3 of them. So I guess I have no horse in this race, so we'll vote to separate. So that's all we're voting on now. A yes is to separate them into 3 separate votes. A no is to keep them all as one. Okay? Is that clear?
Okay.
So all in favor of separation, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, we're going to vote on these 3 separate. Peggy, are you able to, that you're not going to be doing that online? Can you do that? Okay, super. Just making sure we have everything set. Great. Okay, so I guess right now we'll talk about policy 2522, if there's any comments.
Yes, so 2522 is about library and media centers, and I'm aware of other districts who use Neola, and part of their process, like for example for library and media centers, would be to consult with the professionals who will be practically using them, these policies, and so I'm wondering if library and media specialists were involved at all related to this policy, especially since, and I'm talking about policy 2522, because this is a blend of Neola and a blend of School District of Menominee Falls. I wanted to know how library and media specialists were involved in this policy.
Leah's here. She was has been working on this actually before my arrival to the district. But what I will say before any other comment is we have found out that there are 1,320 words in this policy 2522, of which 964 are actually boilerplate Neola policy. So the majority of this policy is boilerplate. Now, we found that out largely because before Leah and I were in this district,
Yes, 2016.
so 2016, there were people before and a board before, so none of the board members here, none of the administrators here actually used the Neola policy to create this without Neola's permission. But since we work with Neola now, they just wanted this to be clear for everybody, that this is was written. We didn't know that, we knew it now when we started drafting these Neola policies. Actually, actually, a couple of our board members bumped into it, and were like, hey, this looks very similar to the boilerplate language. So thank you for the members of the policy committee who brought that up. We looked into it, and the vast majority of this policy that's here before the board is actually Neola template. Yeah.
Yeah, so in 2016, whoever was doing it clearly was looking at examples from other school districts and copied a lot of the Neola language. When we did it the first time, when I was here, we actually left about 95%, 96% of that policy intact. And while I know people had strong responses to changes, the vast majority of it stayed the same. If you were going to go back to 2022 and look at those strike-throughs that were presented, it's actually not a lot that changed. It was actually a very small percentage that changed. In adopting Neola, the folks working on it were kind of copying and pasting in ours into here. And then after looking at it, it's like we almost literally copied and pasted Neola back into Neola. And so we have all of these sections which were maybe one or two words different, and those words were not impactful in changing any of the meaning of the paragraph. So I really just went through and carved out all the stuff that was duplicative between ours and what Neola was already bringing us, which I don't know, they're bad, was already so much the same. And then just did a little rearranging so that fines wasn't just hanging out there at the end. It kind of went back up into an area that made more sense. Back, I think we started in 2021, I met probably 8 different meetings with the library media specialists to create the policies and procedures for all of the library, like the 800 series, 871 and 2. And we had, I think, at least 8 meetings where I met with everybody, and they did have a lot of input, and the final documents that, you know, we came up with were a compromise document. You know, there was maybe one thing that they could live with but didn't love, but they could still live with it. But for almost everything that we worked on, they were in agreement with what we brought forward. And so we're really going back to that original stuff in 2022, which also just happens to be Neola's stuff from 2016, which they hadn't changed much now in 2025. So it looks messier than it really is.
Yeah, I actually pre-talked this with Leah, and I think the history is very important because this policy is 871 and 872, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what 2522 is becoming. So to have that history is very important. So thank you, Leah.
Yeah, and they were originally, curriculum, supplemental, and library were all in 361.
Okay.
And we did a lot of work, and the librarians were truly in agreement with the fact that we separated everything out, because I think I've said ad nauseum, there's like a 3-page legal document that I wrote up, where library books are to be treated differently than curriculum and supplemental material, and the board has its most control at curriculum, its next most control at supplemental, and I guess it's least amount of control, but still control over library. And so by separating those out, we actually did some justice to make sure that people realize the difference between a school library and a classroom. So there was actually a lot of agreement for them to have theirs separated out, so everything doesn't come together in an even more restrictive environment than they should have been in.
Your follow-up? I'm just wondering, so I first want to say I'm pleasantly surprised to see that this was programmed in a lot. Really like that. I guess my one question was, it looked like it almost looked like the Neola's policy was like, this seemed like a weird Neola policy in that the whole like appeals process that I would expect to be in Neola's AG was in their policies. And so I guess I was wondering if we, obviously we struck all that, and that's how we got to the 90-ish% Neola temp for the language, I would say. Do we, the policy committee, try or consider trying to put our appeals process within the Neola framework to align that, or why did we, I guess, what was the thought process there?
Yeah, that more has to do with AGs. So we're not through that work yet, so the procedures,
Sure,
So
I guess, so Neola's procedure for this one, right, has, oddly for Neola, it seems like it has that whole appeals process in the policy itself, and obviously we struck it, or not, but
yeah,
you get what I'm saying. We struck all the options and just said we'll follow our AG or our procedure. So why not try to be more Neola and just take what's in our current procedures and bring it in to the Neola policy?
yeah, we can just speak for all the work that has been put into this over the years. That's a big point.
Sure.
Like not changing and going back and redoing all of that work. In a few instances, we were happy to, not necessarily happy, but we were interested and curious to find out about how much of Neola this really was. So it was a little bit easier for us to say how we would separate this out. We've already put some work into the AGs, so that'll be coming to the policy committee meeting in December. Actually, that particular one.
I appreciate that there's been a lot of work. I just think, again, looking at everything with fresh eyes, I kind of fall into like that some, with some cost fallacy of like, well, we did all this work, so we can't look at it new. So this is our policies co-branded with Neola. Do we expect the AG to be co-branded with Neola, or is that going to be unchanged from current, or is that to be determined?
We are drafting Friday. So I'll have an answer for you after Friday.
Okay.
So
we
we have pre-drafts.
Okay.
So there's been a lot of work behind the scenes, but Dr. Thompson will be in district Friday with myself, multiple administrators, just looking specifically at actually that whole thing, the thousands, I think the 9,000s and the 5,000s. Right?
Yeah,
I believe so.
we're getting ready.
Yeah.
So I will just say I did a quick perusal of their process, their reconsideration process, and I'm just going to be honest, I think the same thing happened in 2016 with the creation of the process. So I will say that just on a quick read, this looks very similar to ours. I think we actually have a little bit more detail on timelines, and the timelines are a little tighter, but this is actually reading pretty similar to what we already have. And I can see like two places where we did make a small change, and one of them was actually with the library media specialist, so that the first concern goes to the principal, and they are not the decision maker in the first concern, which made them uncomfortable. But I'll just tell you that right now, it's feeling very similar.
And I guess that was part of the reason I was wondering, like, why not?
I still feel,
Do it all.
there are like 4 policies that I think I've come across now where I'm like, how come do they also have the procedure in them? So I do still think that stuff should be in the procedure equivalent, because the policy really should be more general and kind of giving you an overview of that topic. And then the administrative guideline, or what we have as procedures, should really get into like the nitty gritty or the daily grind of it. So I do think that is a place for it. And I actually think people will see that it is going to be extremely similar to what is struck out.
So likely we have a co-branding there as well.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak to Dr. Thompson or Mr. Williams, but right now, having typed it up like 100 times, I feel like it's extremely similar. And I do feel like a couple of the nuances I can have a good explanation.
Is there plans to have the library media specialists work on those AGs again?
Oh, I mean, I'm not even sure if I'm the one working on these or not, since I was just trying to pass off books for a little while now, but I'm happy to reconfigure the committee. I honestly, if we go with this, they were a part of it for quite some time, but they can be, see why not, but I know one of the things is we did take them out of the form formal process. So they didn't have to have those meetings with people who are challenging something that they might have been a part of.
Yeah, it's that one intent to make a change to what's already good. But we're not at draft right now.
Are there any further comments on 25-22? We do have a motion on the table, so. Not
We had a motion to split them,
Okay.
now you need a motion
Okay.
to approve.
Correct.
So, all right, I would like to, if somebody could give me a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of Neola policy 25-22. Okay, motion by Board Member Langer, seconded by Board Member Wren. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay. And that passes 5-1. Okay, and that brings us to policy 3340, which is the grievance procedure. And just so that I don't lose track, I would like to get a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of Neola policy 3340.
Motion?
A motion by Board Member Walker, seconded by Board Member Wren. Discussion.
I don't have like a thorough discussion per se, just I'm aware of a 2014 Dodge County ruling that determined discipline is defined by its effect, not its name. I think Leah will have a different reason for the strike through, and I will have a different reason, and my vote will reflect that.
Okay. So, the Dodge County case is talking about Wisconsin statute 66. Those are for municipal employees who are under their civil service rules.
And statute 66 is referenced in this policy.
No,
It's not.
statute 66 is what Board Member Schnelly was referencing in the Dodge County case. So while it is talking about public sector employees, it is talking about municipal employees under statute 66. And those employees are more similar to all non-certified staff in the district. However, teachers are not covered under municipal statute 66. They are covered under 118. And so, while that case does talk about discipline and its definition, it's talking about discipline under civil service for municipal employers and not for school district employees under 118. So, my opinion, which I believe is supported by some others that I've talked to in the field, that statute does not cover this area. And so, in that case, the employer decided that it did not extend its grievance procedure to anything that was related to terminating you under your loss of driver's license. So if you had a DUI and you had to drive as part of your job and now you can no longer drive, they just said we get to fire you. And this case said no, you don't get to just fire them. They still have their due process rights under 66 and the grievance procedure is available to them. I won't read everything I wrote about it, but disciplinary action can occur at any time to an employee. The non-renewal process for a teacher, if for some reason they are not performing to the levels that we would like to see them performing, that is a whole year process. They will, under my guidance especially, they will be put on a performance improvement plan, usually at the beginning of February as we start our second semester and enough data has been collected to show this performance that we need to see improvement in. They are given the opportunity to improve with the principal and other supports during that time, and preliminary notices and final notices of non-renewal go out in April and May. And if they disagree with that performance improvement plan and with the district's decision to recommend non-renewal of their employment contract at the end of the school year, they get a hearing before the board. And that is their due process moment to challenge the district's decision-making to the board, who would then be the final decision makers on if they can be renewed or not at the end of the school year. It is a full school year long thing. And we cannot non-renew someone and end their employment anytime before the end of the school year. I'm sorry, I just moved, I'm just really dramatic here. We cannot remove them from their employment for non-renewal purposes until the end of that contract. It does not bring them back. But they do have a due process opportunity, and they get that. Discipline can happen at any time for breaking some type of policy, procedure, or work law. And your employment could be ended, depending on the progression or the individual nature of that act, at any point in time. And the district does not have to wait until the end of your contract. At that point in time, any employee, including the teacher group who's on individual contract, or any of us who are, we have the grievance procedure available to us. That is our due process afforded under the statute. Non-renewal gives you your board hearing under the statute. Discipline gives you the grievance procedure under the statute. Since Act 10, back in 2011 or 2013, depending on when you made your changes from contract to handbook, the school board is the final step of the grievance procedure. So in both cases, somebody has their due process rights available to the highest authority in the school district. And so those are the two different due process tracks. Neola is being bombarded right now with Waukesha, Milwaukee, Washington, and Ozaukee County law firms and school districts challenging the sentence that we struck, as well as about 70 other school districts at a statewide meeting. So I do anticipate seeing, well, I would like to think there will be a change as all of the law firms at the various conferences in the last 3 months and the school districts that have talked are in agreement that non-renewal and discipline are separate instances under the statutes, and they each have their different yet somewhat similar due process rights under the school board.
So Dr. Thompson will be with us in March, and perhaps this was a question at that time, but what he did let us know to convey is this is how NEOLA works. This sort of feedback, in response to the question, it's actually not just our feedback. There is feedback from lots and lots of districts that agree with us, which may prompt an entire NEOLA book change based on this precedent.
Yeah, thank you very much. I totally appreciate, we emailed before this too, so I appreciate your explanation through email. I appreciate your explanation verbally right now. I'm gonna err on the side of caution because I've seen way too many people leave in my career, an interesting process or no processes be handled. And so I have to err on the side of caution tonight.
Yeah, and I respect that. I will just say that I have actually taken both in the state of Wisconsin to make sure that I have pulled all of these rights for people, and these will outlive me, so people need to know how they feel. But I feel like I gave you a summary of the statute.
I do see in the legal portion of that policy that 66.0509 is referenced. Did you say it wasn't?
Well, yeah, well, no, that's
Mr.
the grievance procedure.
It
It will
was
reference.
said it was referenced, and then you said it wasn't.
Oh, not for non-renewal. I'm sorry, not for
No,
non-renewal.
grievance.
Yes, grievance procedure is, because this applies to everybody in the district. This is just a little sentence,
Yeah.
one little sentence at the very end that said non-renewal is discipline. And the vast majority of us in the state of Wisconsin disagree with that sentence, that yes, discipline has those municipal rights under
I
66.
understand all
Yeah.
that. I was just saying that.
Oh, yeah,
You
sorry.
said it wasn't referenced, but at the top, I do see it referenced. So
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just meant in non-renewal.
got it.
Just one tract.
All right, are there any further comments or questions now we're on the last of the policies. So this is 8340. I'll need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of Neola policy 8340.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Board Member Langer,
I'll second.
second by Board Member Kramer. Is there any discussion on this policy? 8340, just for everybody, is providing a reference. Are there any comments? No, we're good with that one? Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that passes unanimously, 6-0. Okay. All right, so revisiting our earlier time together, we now have the 26-27 school year calendar to be voted on. So those, if you have any questions or comments, Leah's here, but anyone? Okay, I will need a motion to approve the 26-27 school year calendar as presented.
I'll motion.
Motion by Board Member Schmeling,
I'll second.
seconded by Board Member Walker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that also passes unanimously. And it brings us to vouchers payable.
I would like to make a motion to approve vouchers payable through December 4th, 2025, in the amount of $2,244,477.20.
All right, I have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Kramer. Questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, brings us to our consent agenda. Everybody's had a chance to review? Okay. So I need a motion to approve the November 10th, 2025 Board of Education meeting minutes. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We need a motion to approve the 2026-2027 new course requests as presented.
Motion.
Motion by Board Member Walker,
I'll second.
second by Board Member Wren. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. And then finally, a motion to approve the 4K report card as presented. Motion by Board Member Wren, second
Second.
by Board Member Walker. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that passes unanimously. Does anyone have any thoughts on future board future board agenda items?
Yep, but all the committees are meeting and AGs are in, so we have them and we're drafted. So
I think there's a committee meeting every night next week, except for Friday. So Monday through Thursday, if you in the community are looking for something to do, we do have committee meetings every night of the week. So we are here to fill your evenings.
I recommend the student services. We've invited the nurses, the school nurses to come speak, so if you have any concerns about health or anything like that, we can address that.
It definitely sounds like we're going to have some pretty good discussion in curriculum. The school report cards, I look forward to that. And, if you really want to know the ins and outs of our report card and how our district's doing, I encourage to come up with that one as well.
Now I have to give a plug for the policy here.
AGs.
AGs, it's gonna be exciting, so
Procedures.
hope to see you there. That's Thursday? Shoot,
Thursday,
you
that's
what?
Thursday.
Calendar's up somewhere on the website. Please, we'd love if you to get to attend, so. All right, that brings us to the end of our agenda, and so I would need a motion to adjourn. Motion and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.